Well, hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Eeks and Geeks. We're back. I'm Siberia.
I'm Kirsten.
God, it's a shit show already today. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Pumpkin. We all have the giggles.
Yeah, we're all feeling a little loosey-goosey. We're feeling funny and gamey.
And gay.
Me.
All right, we should probably just put a cap on this one, huh?
Yeah, we're
Call it a day.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
End scene.
Okay.
Start next scene.
People log on and they're like, why is this episode only a minute long?
I got it. Has anyone watched anything this week?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll wait.
What everyone watch?
I think we all watched Influencer after Lauren recommended
You
it.
did.
Yeah, we did.
And then I watched it again
Loved
yesterday with Joe.
It's so good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Great.
It's really good. I also
Was it-
watched.
Was it as good the second time? I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I still liked it the second time.
Fine.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. I watched Haunt, which I've never seen before, and I
love Haunt.
loved it. It slayed.
Go watch it now.
The acting was
good.
like a little corny, but like once I got into it, I was like, okay. And then I watched Sputnik, which is a Russian sci-fi. It's a good movie, but the pacing is like really slow, and you're like, okay, can something happen now, please? But like, it's like a very cool alien take, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that happening. So it's okay, it was good.
I feel like sci-fi has a tendency to be a little slower paced.
They almost
I feel they need to explain the whole thing.
There's a lot going on. They got to explain their science and whatever.
And which I'm like, it's all made up. You don't have to explain it to me, bestie. I'm on board.
I'm willing to just believe whatever. Like,
yeah.
There's a frugal and the flops. Okay.
All right, let's go.
I watched,
You better go get him.
And Evil Dead Rise. I watched that.
Okay, what did you think about it?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Okay.
It was like fun, and I thought
Yeah.
she was really good. And there were some moments that I was like, "What?" Like, the whole, like, she's with the maggots now, baby girl. Like, I was like,
hated that line.
I loved it.
Mommy's with the maggots now.
I just thought the demon was so funny. I was like, we would chill, we'd be friends. Like, like they're goofing and gabbing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So for like the camp factor, I loved it. But then like for like it being a movie, I was like, this could have been a better movie.
Yeah, well, that's how the demons are in Evil Dead. They're very like goofy and campy. Like,
So I gave that like a 6 or 6.5.
Could you see why I didn't like it? Could you see how it was
Oh,
not my
definitely.
vibe?
It had very Drag Me to Hell vibes.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, if you had gotten to the end and gotten to the meatball person, you wouldn't have been happy.
that big fucking.
I liked the meatball person. I was living for that. But a lot of
Lauren
everything,
wouldn't have been.
almost everything before that, I was kind of like, okay, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go.
I watched Fall.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm the only person that hasn't seen it yet. But I already know the twist now.
I don't like Fall.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's not a good.
It's a bad movie.
I didn't like hate it. Like I enjoyed watching it. The whole time I was just like, this is stupid. You're stupid. Why are you?
Yeah.
Like, the whole time I was like, why are you making this decision? Why are
so
you making
illogical.
This decision? Why are you making this decision?
Like
that
shaking that ladder and being like, yeah, let's go.
In the beginning, she shakes the ladder, and I'm like, it's so rickety. And
It's like rickety
okay,
as
I'm gonna
fuck.
go. And I'm like, no, get out of there. Like,
Well, there's
what's wrong with
bolts
you?
falling around you.
And the thing is, at the very least, if we're gonna do this thing, like, I'm staying in the little cage thing. I'm not going up to the top.
The tippy toppy? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's just silly goofy.
I'm like, why?
Ugh.
This isn't a spoiler because this is like in the beginning. Why would you drag your friend out? After that just happened to her like months ago. Like, what is
like
wrong
a
with you?
super traumatic
Like-
experience? Like, get over it, bitch. It's giving in Princess Diaries when Lily is like, how long's it been? 2 months? Like,
yeah, your
Cynthia's dad
dad
died
2 months ago.
It's
And
like,
you're
she's
like,
get
that's
over
not
it.
long.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, like my boyfriend just died in like a horrific climbing accident. I'm a little scared of heights still.
Like,
That's like in Midsummer too. Like her whole family's dead, and they're all like, "God, this bitch won't stop
They're like,
crying."
ugh, she's so traumatized
she's
or
so
whatever.
annoying.
down, or am I?
Literally, everyone's the worst to her.
Yeah.
No one likes being around her. Her family died and she got all weird.
Yeah, she's like sad all the time. It's so annoying.
Girl, get
annoying.
over it.
Get
Good vibes
over it.
only.
So
Move
my
on,
cute little plot summary for like the tippity top is: two violent young men take a mother, father, and son hostage in their vacation cabin and force them to play sadistic games with one another for their own amusement. Fun.
Indeed.
Funny.
Did we say we're watching Funny Games? Did we
We're
announce
watching
that?
Funny Games. You should have listened
Or we
last week.
we watched it.
You read the title. You know what you.
You should have too.
These
So.
games are funny.
And I have some funny facts.
Oh, tell us some funny facts.
Okay, so Michael Haneke, the director, wanted to make this film set in the United States, but for practical reasons, he had to film it in Austria. So when he got the chance to remake it in America, that's the version that he likes better, but everyone else likes this version better.
Interesting. Because you said you've seen the remake, right?
Yes, I've seen them both now, and I think this one's way better.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna butcher these names. Ulrich Muhe and Suzanne Lothar, who play the father and mother, were a couple in real life from this movie until his death in 2007.
Oh, shit.
Aww.
Yeah. And then director Michael Haneke has said that he never intended Funny Games to be a horror film. Instead, his idea was to make a film with a moralistic comment about the influence of media violence on society. It's a subject that Haneke is quite passionate about.
Say that one more time.
He never intended it to be a horror movie. Instead, his idea was to make a film with a moralistic comment about the influence of media violence on society.
Okay.
Okay.
Paul says the line, "We're not up to the feature film length yet," at the exact 95-minute mark of the movie.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, that is funny.
And then this is voted #1 on Watch Mojo's list of top 10 horror movies that could actually happen.
Okay. I was like, all time? Could actually happen. Sure. Yeah, I'd give you that.
Know that somebody could actually rewind time in real life, but okay.
Sure. I think more the premise.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Like the setup.
Yeah.
So I want to hear some final thoughts because I know nothing besides Kirsten's tweet. Like, y'all.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us have said anything to each other.
No,
We
I
haven't.
go in order on my screen. So Kirsten, let me have it.
I really like this movie a lot. It's like right up my alley of like, I like fucked up movies, but fucked up for a good reason. And like I said in my tweet, that one scene is just so beautifully shot. Like, so I mean, it's messed up to say that because it's a messed up scene, but like it's just so visually aesthetically pleasing. Like a lot of these, there's a lot of scenes, there's a lot of like, you're just sitting there with what just happened and you're just like, yeah. I give it a 9 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10 because the dad is he's so stupid. We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
The dad is stupid?
I hate him. He makes so many dumb decisions. There's like things.
Makes some dumb decisions.
I think he's dumb.
Okay.
I don't like him. Okay.
Okay, 9. All right, Lauren. Oh no.
Oh no.
Girl, I hated this movie so much. I was literally raging for like an hour after I watched it because I hated it so much. Ooh, I'm fuming. I've been just trying to like keep my shit together because not text you all like how much I despise this movie. And what would otherwise be a movie that I'm very into? Like, I love a home invasion. I'm very scared by like.
I really thought this was gonna be your movie.
Like a premise that like could actually happen. I think that's very scary. And then I think what detracted the most for me was the mom and the dad. They were so incompetent at every turn, like to an unrealistic degree for me. Like it just took me so far out of the movie, the decisions that they made, and like specifically the dad's injuries being like so blown out of proportion that he was like, leave me to die. And it was like, dude, you got hit in the knee with a golf club. Like I couldn't get over how distracting that was. And I felt like I really liked the cheeky fourth wall breaks, but when they rewound time, I almost turned that shit off. I was like, oh, the directors, this is just like a joke to them. Like they don't take the audience seriously. Like there's now suddenly no rules in this universe. We're just like rewinding time. I hated it so much. I give it a 2.
That is so, like, I don't care, but like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I expected you to like it so much.
I expected to like it too. I was in for a while. I think it had some really beautiful cinematography. Like you said, Kirsten, there was some scenes that I loved the way they were shot. Like the really long, unedited, really uncomfortable scenes, I think was like a really good stylistic choice. But yeah, the parents' choices and the rewinding time, hated it.
Wow. I kind of wish I had saved you for last.
That was such a juxtaposition of like reviews.
Pumpkin.
I know.
I thought the movie was like a good movie, but not very entertaining.
Mm.
And that like the acting is so good, like the crying, the screaming, the heartfelt moments, that like desperate kiss, like the acting is so good. The cinematography is so good. I love like the setup and how believable a lot of the interactions are. But for my poor little squirrel brain, there was a lot of talking and nothing happened. Just like watching someone like chop some vegetables or just talk about golf. And I was like, okay, I'm stupid and I need things to be happening. I'm like bored to tears right now. Can something please happen? So it's like, it was a really like well-made movie, but I just wish that like things had like moved along a little bit faster. Like I got that some scenes were slow to let you kind of like sit with the moment, and those were good. But there were some, or even just like the opening of them just driving, like, guess which song this is? I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Can we please something happen? I'm so fucking bored. I have the attention span of like a goldfish. So I give it like I don't want to give it like a low score because it's a good movie. It's just like I'm not good at sitting with slow dialogue heavy movies. I think maybe like a 7.5, probably.
Okay.
If I give Battle Royale, I give Battle Royale what, a 7?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7.5. I didn't enjoy it the way I did Battle Royale, but it's a better made movie. So wherever that puts it.
Sure.
Those are 3 such wildly
really different.
And then this was my second time watching this movie, and I loved it even more this time. I really liked this movie like a lot. And I was watching this with my roommates Jackie and Bella, and they were both also just like we were all like not on our phones and not talking, just like watching the movie, which like is a rarity in this home. And I don't know, I just think it's so good. I think the acting, I think they picked Peter and Paul so well because they're so freaky and
yes, they're
like,
very unnerving.
They're just there's something about them that like makes me never want to know them. I think we were talking, me and Bella were talking about how like the nonchalant psychopath is like the scariest kind to us, because like what's your mode? It just seems like you're doing this for the fuck of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what's scary to me about this movie mostly. I give this movie an 8.
Oh wow. Okay, so that leaves us with a 6.6.
Okay.
What does it have on Rotten Tomatoes?
7.5.
Okay.
Okay.
We're
But the
usually a
remake
little
has a
closer.
6.5.
Sorry, I really swung this one down.
Yeah, you did.
I was sitting at like a 4 on it, and then they did the time rewind, and that almost put it at a 0 for me.
I honestly, when I watched it, I was like, I'm surprised Siberia likes this. Like, I don't know, it felt very much like my type of like movie. Like, I had thought that I was gonna come in and like all of you are gonna like hate it, and Siberia be like, oh, it wasn't as good the first time. So
I was hoping for an explanation of the fourth wall breaks and the time rewind, but they just kind of left it there, and I was like,
I think it's to make you complicit in what they're doing. Like they're like, you're just watching us do this, you cheeky little bastard.
Yeah, I read it as like this is a game that you can't win, like kind of thing. And so it's like you think we're spoiling it, commenter that said that we spoiled movies.
Spoiler alert.
Like because like when you think that she won and then it's like, nope, she didn't win. it's like I thought we were playing the game. Kind of, you get it?
Sure.
Because like he even asked in the beginning, like, are you betting like to the audience? And you're like, oh,
like,
which I liked those.
I liked those.
Yeah.
I was hoping for an explanation, but I still liked them even without one. But with the time rewind, I was like, are you gonna address that? No, we're just okay.
We
Weird.
control time now. All right.
Yeah, because then it feels like all of a sudden we have like magic. Like if you're gonna have that, I feel like it needs to be like a consistent theme.
I didn't hate it, but I wanted something to kind of
Funny Games 2, The Wizard's Quest.
I haven't seen that one yet. Is that
good? Shall we get into the plot?
Yeah.
All right, chapter 1. George Schober, his wife Anna, how did they pronounce it?
Anna?
Yeah,
Anna.
Yeah.
And their son Georgie and their dog Rolfie arrive at their holiday home beside a lake in Austria. On the drive over, they spot their next door neighbors Fred and Eva, accompanied by 2 young Viennese men whom they do not recognize. The Schobers notice the strange behavior displayed by the Berlingers and the apparent absence of their daughter Sissy. Fred visits minutes later with one of the men, whom he introduces as Paul, the son of a friend. Shortly after the family settles in, and while George is still setting up the boat, the other young, unidentified man comes to Anna's kitchen to borrow eggs on Eva's behalf. This man, later named as Peter, gradually overstays his welcome by breaking successive batches of eggs and submerging the family's phone into a kitchen sink filled with water, all seemingly done by accident.
Now see,
I think the setup of this movie is really good.
I loved this whole opening scene.
I like the setup. I like they like are trying to talk to the neighbors, and the neighbors are just like being really like weird. They're like, yeah, we'll be there in 20. And you're just like, what is happening? Although I was the scene with like the eggs and the phone knocking over, I was like, girl, kick him the fuck out.
Yeah, get the
girl,
fuck out of here.
Stop being nice.
Stop being so goddamn nice.
I loved how
fuck kindness, be a bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
Stay sexy, don't get murdered.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this opening scene. I think it did such a good job of like creating intense unease, like from everything it's like he's right on that line of like, oh, he looks like a nice, like normal guy. And then also you're like, kind of looks like a creepy slime ball, actually. Like he's right on that line. Like even from when they first come in, it's like, why are they wearing gloves? That's weird.
Yeah.
I was the whole time I was like, why are you wearing gloves?
Well, at first I was like, oh, because they were just playing golf.
That's what I had the same
gloves.
Thought. Yeah.
And then she's like, why are you wearing gloves? And they're like, oh, I'm cold or something. And I'm like,
golf.
Yeah.
I like how it's set, like even like the title in the beginning kind of made it uneasy because they're like they're doing the like, oh, the music, and it's like soft music, and then all of a sudden it's just like this
screaming metal
music that like if I was 14 I'd be like, yeah, this is so good, and I'm like, no, this is awful, like that uneasy like music, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be unsettling. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I really liked all of that too. Yeah, just like the way it builds tension and like how close he is to her in the kitchen is just like,
I was like, back up,
get away from her. Yeah, so creepy.
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love how he just at first he just seems so pathetic Like, you would never suspect him because you're like, God, this guy's just some like nervous, bumbling, clumsy idiot. And so like the reveal that he's like fucking psycho and like going to hurt them is like, oh,
I hate that.
I hate that.
Even in the first 10 minutes, like the title holds true. Like they're playing games with these people. Like the whole egg thing is just like
a bit.
How annoyed can we get her?
Yeah.
Like how
just fucking with her.
Yeah, I will say
because they know what's about to happen.
I will say because you guys made a comment about her making dumb decisions, but she was asking some pretty smart questions in the beginning. It's like he came in, he was like, "Why are you wearing gloves? How did you get here? What are you doing?" Like she was just like firing off these questions that I wouldn't even think about. Like, how did you get in? It's like, oh.
I went through
she's like, I went through the lake. I was like, but your clothes aren't wet.
Like, there's a hole in the fence. She's like, okay.
Can you also not do that again? Then?
Yeah.
Also,
let's fix that hole up, huh?
Also, wait, have we gotten to where he comes in and plays with the golf club?
No, it's just the egg part.
It's just egg boy.
I would have like if he was like, you have more eggs, you can go get some more, and I'm like, I'd be like, no,
you're dumbass. Drop them. Go to the store.
You're in a whole neighborhood. Ask the next person.
Go somewhere else. Like,
although I do feel like they think it's a game to like play with people's like there's this like social thing of like you need to be polite, especially if you don't really know someone or they're your neighbor, and you need to just kind of like smooth things over. And I feel like they know that people feel that way, and they're like, let's see how far we can push this. Like how annoying can we be before people just snap?
Yeah.
And I think that up through this part, it's all very realistic. Like I think her tolerance and the rate with like she gets a little bit more like, okay, like you need to go, you know, like we're done with doing the egg thing. I think that is very believable because women specifically are conditioned to be overly polite for probably too long.
Yeah.
So I thought all of that was very believable, and it got frustrating when the husband comes and she's like, get him out of here, and he's like,
why would they do?
Like,
and it's like,
if I said that to Joe, if I was like, if I was at a point where I was like, get this guy the fuck out of our house, like, and he was like, there's something going on. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That was number one. Like I hate this was number one red flag on this husband guy. I hate him so much. He's so stupid. I
hated him too.
But he was just like, oh, well, what's going on? And she's just like, do I have to have an excuse? Like, throw him out. And he's just
like, I'm your wife.
To go.
Yeah, literally bumbling idiot, like right out the gate. So annoying.
Can we bring back men's short shorts?
They're back, baby.
But like short shorts, because his shorts were short.
I was about to, like, pull mine up, but I'm in underwear.
That's it. Yeah, he was rocking like a 3-inch inseam. He was thighs out.
His legs were so skinny though.
I know.
He had some chicken legs.
And that one, he's Peter, right? And the other guy is Tom.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Paul.
Peter and Paul.
Oh.
Why do I have Tom written here?
They call him
they call each other Tom and Jerry and Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay.
Which is why a lot of people think that Peter and Paul is also fake names for them.
Probably. Isn't that like a biblical thing?
Yeah.
But like Peter was like very, from the beginning, you're kind of like, I don't know about this guy, but like Paul really kind of had me go, like the whole kitchen scene. I was like, is this guy in on it, or is he just like a fucking idiot? Like up until like the golf club scene in a second.
Yes to both.
Well, once he like purposely knocked the phone into the sink, I was like, okay, I see. Right.
Literally, he knocked it into the sink, and Joe and I were like, sure. Oh yeah, he accidentally knocked it.
So sorry.
Yeah.
If I were her, that's the exact moment where I would have lost my temper. I would have been like, get out. Get out of my house right now.
I'm like, I think it's maybe time for you to go.
And then get out of my house.
Yeah. And they're like looking around the house and they're in there, and I'm like, no.
Oh, it's so gross. When they're alone and they're just like scoping.
Yeah.
I hate that.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chapter 2. The other white man in white, Paul, arrives Peter. Huh?
I
Okay,
don't know
no,
which one's
Peter
which.
Peter is the kitchen one. Paul is the creepy one.
Okay.
That's what Wikipedia says, okay? I watched this movie on Sunday.
Wait, what?
What are you looking up on that little device?
I'm looking at my notes. Did I have their names mixed up the whole time?
It was confusing because they kept calling each other other stuff, so I was getting
they were
confused.
not consistent.
Beavis and Butthead, Tom and Jerry.
But yeah, Paul is definitely the one with the short shorts.
Okay.
Okay, Paul's the one with the short shorts. Okay.
Yes.
Got
The
it.
other white man in white, Paul, arrives shortly thereafter and decides to try one of George's golf clubs, taking Anna's permission for granted. While Paul is outside with the club, George, still on that damn boat, hears Ralphie's constant barking suddenly come to a whining halt. When it is clear that Peter and Paul are insidiously imposing themselves on Anna's courtesy, she demands that the men leave. George arrives and tries to eject them from the premises as well. Peter then breaks George's leg with the latter's golf club. Paul then reveals that he has killed Ralphie and taunts Anna with a cruel searching game, during which he turns around and winks at the camera until she finds the dog's corpse in the car. It soon becomes evident that the two men have taken the family hostage. Neighbors Gerda and Robert arrive at the family's dock on the boat. Paul escorts Anna to greet them. Anna finds herself forced to introduce Paul as a family friend to provide false excuses for George's absence, but she also tells Gerda that they may come over after dinner. Discuss.
This is where I start getting frustrated. Frustrated with these characters.
Bro,
Why?
the dog was so sad though.
I so
Poor
sad.
Ralphie.
Poor Ralphie.
As soon as I
Also-
heard the yelp, I was like,
Like, God damn it.
He is so bad at hot and cold. She's walking
Yeah.
towards the car and he says cold, and then like she looks in the car and that's hot. I was like, you're
Yeah.
so bad at this game, dude.
Terrible game of hot and cold.
Yeah.
I think he's just fucking with her.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
also true.
That's the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna play a game, play it right. Just saying.
Because you can tell she's even frustrated. She's like,
But give me the dead dog. Show me the dead dog.
just showing that dog.
Also, when he winked at the camera, like the fourth time he breaks the fourth wall, I was like, do not involve me in this, sir. I have nothing to do with this.
It's like incantation where you're like, I'm not here for no.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah,
This
when he
is
broke
your mess.
when he broke the fourth wall, I was like, what is happening?
Mhm. I know. I was like, okay.
Leave me out of it. I don't know nothing about this.
Cut it out.
This is for me the start of where like their survival instincts are so glaringly bad. Like
So bad.
they're not at gunpoint. They're literally at golf club point. Like
Yeah.
this is
Take
your
it
time
and
to
run.
start. Yeah, like you got to start fighting back. Like, okay, yeah, he hit you in the leg with the golf club. You would still have enough adrenaline to like do something. You wouldn't just be like, I can't move at all now because my leg is hurt. Like,
I was a little
Also,
confused.
if you watch Joe get like hit with a golf club, you would then have
I would be
adrenaline.
freaking out.
bitch.
Yeah. Everyone would be
Yeah.
like going on X Games mode and they're all just like, well, guess this is our lives now. And the fact that when she's talking to the neighbors on the boat, why wouldn't you just be like, hey,
Whoa.
this guy's a crazy person that's holding our family hostage. And then now you have three
Yeah,
more people
you
that
got
can
three
help you.
Well,
people
I,
that can
I
help you.
just push him in the water.
That's what I was
Right.
gonna say. Push
That's
his
what I
ass in
mean.
the lake.
It's
Like-
like what is this guy holding over you that you can't say, like, he doesn't have you at gunpoint, so just be like, this is a crazy person, like, let's mobilize here. Like, you've got the one guy in the house, it's like a one-on-one situation. It's like there's no attempt at like
It's also like
nothing. Yeah.
fighting them
the
back.
night is
I would say the thing that I would excuse their behavior for, because I think that's part of the reason they like preyed on these people, is because they are rich people who've like lived a cushy life.
yeah.
And so I think these two know that like these people who've, you know, just been chilling on boats and luxury and whatever, like they don't have survival instincts, so they can fuck with these people. At
Maybe.
least
It's
that's like
true.
that's the way I kind of saw it, because they know that if they like tried scrapping with someone who like, you know, has been through it, they're gonna get their asses handed to them unless they like rewind time. But
Which you
they're
probably
like,
would
oh,
have.
rich people, they don't know what to do in situations like these. This is funny. Let's just mess with them. So not that it
I can
makes
see that.
their
Yeah.
behavior or like the way they handle it any less frustrating, but I was like, I mean, if you're just like rich and you've never lifted your finger a day in your life, whatever, like of
Yeah.
course you're gonna be like, oh, I got hit out.
Like,
Ouch,
oh no.
ouchie.
They
like,
actually don't
Yeah.
strike me as like overly rich though.
if you
They
have
have
a
a
big
lake house.
home,
Yeah, they have a vacation.
Yeah, but it's
home.
like the 90s. Everyone had fucking 2 houses and a boat. Like
not my
In
family.
Austria?
no, not obviously not everyone, but I don't think anything about
and the
like
gates,
they're not like crazy like,
like a-
can't lift a
it's
finger
a gated
rich.
community though.
It's
Yeah.
a gated lake
Yeah.
house with a boat. I think they
Yeah.
have, and they were listening to
It's
their
a
classical
sailboat,
music.
too.
Yeah,
In the
they got
90s,
money.
I don't feel like that's that crazy. I mean,
Well,
it's
see, but also,
obviously
like,
wealthy, but it's not
90s,
like
but I also feel like
my
people
butler like never lifted a
I
finger.
feel like people in the 90s were also way less conditioned to creepy shit than we are now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the stranger danger was like just kind of beginning around that time, so it wasn't like everyone was just kind of friendly to each other, I feel like.
Mhm.
You know, so there was
Yeah.
not as much questioning of people, because if this happened today, everyone would be like, get the fuck, my Ring doorbell's not even letting you in.
Yeah.
But there was
Yeah.
that one scene where like the dad's sitting there in the chair and Peter is
Mhm.
like at the door with the golf club and tells the kid go
He's
get him a
just-
snack. The moment my kid left the room, I would have
Right?
full monkey
Oh.
mode. Just like
He's
tear
like
that
not
guy
even
apart.
looking at him. He's just like twiddling his thumbs by the doorway, and
Just, like-
the dad's just like,
Yeah, your leg is broken, which
Dude.
really hurts, but
Yeah.
you've still got one leg that works and 2 good arms.
yeah, like
let's
you've got the
go.
whole rest of your body can do something. You
Yeah,
gotta be able
like-
to do something.
I feel like I at least in like the scary situations I've ever been, like the adrenaline just takes over and you
Yeah.
go like full crazy ape shit
Yeah.
monkey mode.
Mhm.
Like I was like,
Like,
just
the
get this
car-
guy.
And when he's like, don't think about getting a knife, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
That's
Yeah.
what I would have done.
Also,
Because a knife versus your golf club.
my one huge qualm of this movie is they set up the knife in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it goes, "Yoop," off
Yeah,
the
they
boat.
don't do anything with that whole
Like-
little scene where they show. Literally, when that happened, Joe was like, "Who's that knife gonna come in handy for later?" Didn't.
No
The
one.
one-
That's, I think that's why I
Goddamn.
love this movie, because it's literally the director playing games on the audience, because it's like, here's this thing that you're going to use later. Just kidding. There it goes. It's literally like,
So is he our men with gloves?
yes.
Mm.
I that's what I thought this whole time. That's why I love this movie so much. It's like, I think we're the ones actually getting fucked with, because it's just like, it's so unsatisfying, everything that
It's
happens.
like you're like, oh, they're just gonna rewind time. Cool.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So it's like,
Neat.
okay, so unsatisfying, great, love that.
Mhm.
Like,
Maybe Lauren had the right response to the movie.
Being pissed.
yeah, yeah, that's what the director wanted.
Well, it worked. 10 out of 10 for pissing me the fuck off.
You heard it here. Lauren gave it a 10.
Doesn't matter for what.
It's a lot of these scenes like where Paul is standing at the door just talking about like nothing, asking
Yeah.
the kid to go get a snack, or
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
there's just a lot of scenes where everybody's just kind of standing there talking, and I was like,
Mhm.
I need
do
things to
something.
happen.
I'm gonna beat somebody with something.
Yeah,
I was like,
either
Can we move?
either the family needs to be attacking or doing something, or the bad guys need to be doing something scary. You can't just have nobody doing anything.
Yeah, I was like, I know this is a good movie, but I'm just like, it was a struggle to not pick up my phone, because I was like,
Mhm.
I'm so bored. No, pay attention to the movie. But I'm so bored.
It's in German, I have to look.
Yeah.
That
Which is so
awkward
funny 'cause
silence.
I found it so,
Huh?
What?
that's just so funny because I found it so like riveting. Like I was like, oh my god.
I did too.
Mhm.
I didn't pick up my phone the entire time, which is yeah.
Yeah.
But see,
so-
then you guys said you were bored during Battle Royale, and I was like, tee, I love this.
Yeah,
So-
I wasn't bored through Battle Royale.
Yeah, me neither.
My dumb little lizard brain. I just need like stimulation. There's so many, like, I couldn't watch Loki because there's just too much talking. I was like, I don't care. Stop talking. Shut up. Shut up.
There, it's Owen Wilson talking.
Wow.
Somebody said Dave May.
I'm like allergic to long movie or TV show scenes where people are just talking. I'm like, things to happen.
You really must not be a Game of Thrones girly.
I
Oh,
watched
yeah,
the
no.
first 2 episodes and gave up on it.
It's like all it is people talking.
Literally.
Game of Thrones lost me because they were like, okay, you know these people from this city. And I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, you know how they have beef with these people
like,
from that
I'm
city?
out.
I'm like, I don't know any of these people.
I have seen
I'm so
Game of Thrones,
confused.
and I probably still couldn't figure out the worlds of the piece.
I just, you
Yeah,
lose me.
you
You lose
sure.
me.
I don't know anything about Game of Thrones.
I
at
have
all.
a dumb brain. I need like 3 characters and they're just like fighting things. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Go.
Go.
Is there anything else we can cover in this section?
I have a lot for the next section.
Oh, the searching game with the dog was just really cruel. The way that dog
It falls out of the
fucking car.
I was like, yeah.
terrible.
Gasp.
I was
How'd
like,
y'all do that?
yeah. I was like, they're not going to show the dog, right? Like, she's just going to open it and she's going to be sad. Nope, it just popped out, and I was like,
Like, hey yo, how'd they do that?
Also,
Yeah.
teach your dog to fucking tear people apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently these golf clubs are like magic, destructive, all-powerful, can kill anyone and anything.
I have accidentally been hit with a golf club, and I'll tell you, it's.
I bet it hurts.
And I'll tell you.
it'll break your leg to where your whole body's
Somebody
paralyzed.
accidentally just like tapped me in the shin with a golf club, and I was like, no.
And you were like, everybody leave me. Go out.
That was
I will
for
say-
a minute there.
If you get hit in the femur hard enough with a golf club for it to draw blood, that might be a little debilitating.
I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt and be horrible, but I don't think it would be like
But you do
you
have
couldn't
another
be
leg.
on your other
Yeah.
leg
Yeah.
kind of deal.
That's the other.
We'll get to it.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So, chapter 3, are we ready?
Chapter
Mhm.
3.
Chapter 3. Over the next following hours, Peter and Paul subject the family to sadistic games. Paul, the more eloquent of the two, punctuates the torture with frequent breaks in the fourth wall and warped role-playing, wherein he relates contradictory stories of Peter's past and ridicules his weight and apparent lack of intelligence. No explanation of the men's origins or motives is offered, and even their names may be pseudonyms, since they also call each other Tom and Jerry and Beavis and Butthead on occasion. Paul places a bet that the family won't survive until 9 a.m. in the morning. He then puts a pillowcase over Georgie's head and pressures George to ask Anna to undress. She complies, only be told to put her clothes back on. Georgie eventually flees to Fred's house, where he finds Sissy's corpse. He is cornered in the house and attempted to shoot Paul, but the shotgun is unloaded. Paul returns Georgie to the home, bringing the shotgun and ammunition with him. The scene in the house with the kid is scary.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
I was
You see him
holding my
just
breath.
up the lawn, like all casually, and you're like, ah, no.
Yeah, when he's just walking up and you're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh
Also,
god.
Georgie kept just like scampering over here and scampering over there, and the floorboards were loud as fuck. I was like, just go somewhere. Just get under a bed. Oh my god, you are stressing me out, child.
Joe was like, run louder. Why don't you? Run
Those
literally louder in
floorboards
this house.
were just like creaking and crunching. I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
And he was like whimpering and shit, and I was like, bro, shut the fuck up. I know this is definitely your first rodeo, but like a little more common sense would be appreciated.
Time to pick up the common sense pace here, kid.
I like how this movie, like, even though, like, I was about to get so mad, I was like, oh god, is this gonna be like a weird rape scene, like when she started to undress, and I was getting angry, but like the camera did not pan down at her at all, and I was like,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
here you
Grateful.
go, you could do this without making it like gross.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
It was just like them fucking with her.
yeah.
They're like,
That
okay,
was
put
so
your clothes
funny.
back on.
But
She's like,
what
what the hell?
My
Yeah.
gripes with the dad continue, because what a limp dick little bitch of
Such a
him
little
to be
bitch.
like, yeah,
Take your
darling,
clothes off.
take your clothes off. Like, why are you complaining?
Go on, girl, get your tits out.
Club. Like, Jesus Christ.
That part, I was like really annoyed with him that he like didn't do more to try
like
to like
anything.
He's just sitting there. It's crazy. Like, it doesn't make sense, his unwillingness to like do anything.
But
Yeah.
maybe it's a comment on how rich men are limp dick.
Pathetic. Yeah.
But
They're awful. Yeah.
even the broke ones.
Yeah, honestly.
Rude.
I did also appreciate that they didn't like show her in that scene, because that would have felt very unnecessarily gratuitous. But they do show her essentially nude later when she's just like changing. And it was like, there's something very distinct about those two different ways of showing nudity, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Because then also you zoomed in on her face, which is so much more effective in this scenario to see.
Yeah. Because you just see how like uncomfortable and how like awful
And
it
it's
is for her.
disbelief that she's like, my husband is just letting this happen. All right. Cool.
Like, you already know how humiliating it is. You don't need to see her nakedness
No.
to like see how like vulnerable and awful that situation is.
Her acting when they all get brought into the living room and they like stomp on his leg and he's screaming, crying, whatever, and they like hit her for the first time, and she like freaks out and has like a whole panic attack, like gasping for breath. I was like, that's really good acting.
Oh,
like that was so believable.
The screams in this movie are absolutely gut-wrenching.
Her acting is so good.
I really believed that his leg was broken too. Like the way he was screaming and like desperately trying to get their feet off of him every time they stomped on him. I was like, did he actually break his leg? Like that's some really good acting. Yeah. But yeah, I was confused. Like I get his leg got hit with the club and they like stomp on his leg, which absolutely sucks, especially if it's like broken. But
which it really is.
But I don't get like later he stands up on his good leg and he's like groaning in pain. And then also his arm is hurt later somehow. And I was like, when was his arm hurt?
When did that happen?
Yeah,
that's when the kid gets shot, is him fighting back.
Oh, but they don't have him on screen when that's happening.
They don't have him on screen, but that's when the arm goes, is after.
Okay, I wish they had shown that, because I
agree. We had the same thought.
He was like suddenly in so much pain later. Like she couldn't even help him get up, and I was like, why? What? Okay, yeah, your leg is hurt, but like, what is going on? I wish they had shown that a little bit better.
I agree, because there was like
it was taken away from the like him, just like the shot of the kitchen while everything is happening. And I think that's more effective than showing the injury.
When he's like buttering toast or something in the kitchen. It's just like,
I feel like they could have cut really quick, or like had him at least be like, oh, my arm, you bastards, or whatever. So I know what happened, because later I was just like, why does your arm hurt? When did that happen? I was like confused.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
Although I loved how uncomfortable it was when Peter, short shorts.
Yeah.
Paul.
When Paul is like making up these like fake stories as to why Peter is the way he is or whatever, and the family's just sitting there like, we don't fucking care. What are you talking about?
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, man. We're so scared right now. As I left, he calls him.
Fucking scared right now.
He was like, now he's a queer and a crook. And I was like, me.
That's what we should have called this podcast.
I was just gonna say, let's rename the podcast.
Queers and Crooks.
Queers and Crooks.
People were like, what is this even about?
Just gay people that like rob banks. Oh, and when he breaks the fourth wall again, he's like, I bet you're on their side, huh? And I was like, yeah. Stop talking to me.
Hey, buddy, shut the fuck up.
We're not friends. I don't know you.
We're not friends, person.
We'll never be friends. I don't like you. Your shorts are too short and your legs are too skinny.
Yeah, but when he's running up to the neighbor's house and you're like, they're dead.
They're dead, aren't they?
And then you see the little girl. Or her
Georgie
leg.
keeps stopping to look behind him, and I was like, "Go,
Yeah.
go, go!"
He's gonna be there. Like, you gotta go.
Just keep going. I hate that in horror movies when people keep looking behind them. I'm like, yes, it's still behind you. Go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Oh my gosh. But him just like walking up the lawn slowly and casually with like not real purpose
It's got like
to it.
a little
Like,
casual trot.
Yeah, okay, Michael.
like
Your next cosplay.
please. Yeah, who's down to do funny games and murderers with me?
Can I be the goth club?
Can we cosplay from Haunt? I want to cosplay from Haunt.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be one of the
I want to
clowns?
be one of the clowns.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
This is when we finally get to the clown section of the movies.
The one good, like the one time I was like, yes, y'all are smart, is like the moment the couple realizes like this is our opportunity to try to like get this tape off, but they don't succeed at doing it. But I was like glad that the moment he left the room, they're like, okay, go, go, go.
Yeah.
But they didn't pay attention to when he was coming back, and I was like, "Go sit the fuck back down. Go sit the fuck back down."
Yeah,
Also, like, just unwrap it. Why he's like trying to pull at it, and I get he's like
I'm
panicking.
Like, tape doesn't rip like that.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta unwrap it, dude. Come on, let's go.
Lauren, you seem in distress.
They're just so stupid. I hate the parents so much. She's more bearable, but it's really the dad.
Because I think like, she makes some like fine decisions.
She's fine. I think, and especially I would say up until like when the son gets shot. Like I feel like they have all of that time to be like trying to make their escape. Then after when he dies, then I understand like shutting down, like having like a shutdown is your response. Like that's totally valid. But everything before that, it's like you gotta be making moves before you're getting taped up. Like you can't get yourself in the taped up situation because now you're fucked. Like you gotta fight back before you get duct taped.
Yeah. And also like the last weapon I would want to bring into this situation is a shotgun.
Yeah. No.
Like last one. That shit sucks.
Like I wouldn't even know how to use a shotgun, so I don't even know if I would pick it up because I'd be like, I don't know how to use this, and he probably does.
He certainly did not know how.
No, he didn't.
I also really like the bet aspect of this movie where it's like the bet and they can make it till 9 a.m. because then it's like, oh, we're setting the time parameter on this whole bitch. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and he keeps asking throughout, like, what time is it?
How much time do we have? What's going on?
What's going on?
Are we ready to move on to the meaty one?
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. Peter plays a counting out game between family members while Paul makes sandwiches in the kitchen. Georgie panics and runs, which results in Peter shooting him dead. Paul berates Peter for being trigger happy, and the two men decide to leave. George and Anna grieve their loss, but eventually resolve to survive. Anna flees the house while George, with a broken leg, tries to repair the malfunctioning phone. Anna strives to find help, but ominously flags down the wrong car. Peter and Paul capture her and return her to the house.
Like I said before, this scene's so because like you hear the rustling and you hear the gunshot and you don't know like who really got shot. And then you still don't know when he's in there like, oh, now we can't get anything out of the other two, like nothing said, and then they leave, and then it just goes to that shot of her like sitting there and him sitting there, and then just like the bloody corpse of the kid just there, and you're just like,
oh,
and then you sit there with it for so long, just like
that scene was so good.
Great scene.
I like this is so uncomfortable.
And the way I love once they leave and Anna's like, they're gone. George, I said they're gone. And he like tries to get up and he just starts having like a full-blown panic attack, like that meltdown. His crying, like that was so good and so believable. I was like, damn.
And just the whole time you have the visual of the kid laying there with like without a face.
Just like there.
It's just there.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, because I feel like that's very much not typically what you see in a horror movie. So like when cuts to that shot and you see that it's the kid, like I was like, oh shit, they killed
Yeah.
the kid. That's crazy.
It's always so unsettling when you see like, because it's horror movies, but like people have this like moral reality of like, you don't have to kill the kid. I think that's also why Hereditary is so powerful, because you see that shot and you're just like, so it had that same impact of like when I saw that in Hereditary, I was just like,
it's
like,
very
oh my god, they killed the kid.
yeah,
God.
it's shocking when the kid dies 1st. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, because
And it's such an awful way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, horrible. And just how long
the shot.
It almost is like, is the movie still playing? Because she's sitting there for so long.
still.
Just
I thought it was
Yeah.
paused.
I know, I did too. I was like, did our internet?
But I honestly, I was sitting there and I would be like, that's exactly what I would do. Like, I literally would just like,
yeah, you'd be in shock.
Like, no.
Yeah,
I don't know. Why do they leave though?
Because then they're like, I guess it's no fun now because like they're just gonna be willing to die. Like, because their kid's gone. Like, but then once they find her like scrambling for survival, they're like, oh wait,
she's still kicking.
I wouldn't have flagged down any, just because
no,
like
bitch.
I wouldn't have flagged down any cars. When she started to flag down that van, I was like, stop.
Who else is gonna be out driving at 2 a.m. in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Yeah. Why are you flagging down a car?
Be driving around right now.
Like, do not flag down a car. Like, just keep going down the road.
So stupid.
I get like that scene where they're like just sitting there with the kid being dead and then the dad having the panic attack or whatever. That was all really good. But then them just like talking about what they should do and her being like, I should go do this. And he's like, but what about that? And he's like, what about that? And she's like, oh, but then this, that, whatever. Like, that was like, I was like, okay, but can we? And then, oh, let's try the phone. It's not working. Okay, try calling this number. That's not working either. Maybe it's I was like, I'm really bored.
It's too long.
I'm so bored.
Like, there were scenes that the really long shots really worked for me. And then there were scenes where the really long shots were like, okay, the phone doesn't work. Like, I don't know how long we need to sit and fiddle with the phone. That scene of him blow drying the phone battery, I could have ripped his whole head off watching him try to just pathetically, like,
my brain was like, put it in rice.
Yeah, that's what I thought the first time when he knocks it into the water and she just pulls it out. I was like, put it in some rice, girl.
Was that a life hack yet though?
No.
Yeah, I don't think they knew that back then.
So this was a part where, because like I had seen him like struggle, so I thought maybe he like got hit like hard, like his two legs.
By the gun. I thought he was dead too for a second. I thought that.
Oh yeah, because he was laying there so still. I was like, oh shit, he shot.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was like in the frame. I thought it was just her.
I mean, I'm talking about like, because we talked about how like he got hit in the leg and we're like he's acting like a big baby about it. I thought maybe he got hit like I just thought that he was just like super paralyzed or something after that hit. And then as soon as I saw her lift him up and I saw that his other leg was working, this is when I was like, you idiot.
So annoying.
And he's like leaning on her so hard while she's trying
so
to
helpless.
drag him out. And I'm like,
so helpless.
Like he's literally like, leave me here
dude.
to die. I'm not gonna make it. It's like,
you have a broken leg.
Literally army crawl, bro. Like, let's go.
Like,
yeah.
Make a fucking effort.
That was when I realized, I was just like, yep, he's a big old fucking baby. I hate this man. I hate this man. His decisions are so stupid.
Does Austria not have their own 911? Because she's like, I don't know the number for the police. I was like, what do you mean?
Time when you have, like know the local police department's number.
Oh, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is he calling his friend? Call the police. I was like, what?
There was a time I had to know.
That would be super inconvenient.
And they're at their vacation home, so
yeah.
Because like I was like, just call 911 and then be like,
okay,
even if they can't hear you, they would be like, okay, we're coming because this is
in
weird.
the 90s. We had like Rolodexes and stuff. Like you didn't think to maybe just put like the local hospital or something like on the Rolodex somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, that should be on the fridge.
Yeah, like they're kind of dumb, which makes them perfect victims, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're just like dumb inherently as people, so it makes this movie frustrating for us, but better for the killers.
Yeah, and it just makes them the perfect targets. That's why these killers are like, let's hit up all these, like, this row of like rich people's lake houses, because they're all a bunch of fucking idiots who have no survival instincts. Let's go mess with them. So
Yeah.
like, it makes sense, but as the viewer, you're like, oh my god, girl.
Yeah.
He's a weird guy.
He's a weird god.
Her getting caught and just the shot of them just bringing her back in the house, you're like, oh my fucking god.
You're like,
You had one job. They were literally leaving. They were
bored.
They were driving home.
I also will say when she cut the fence and she like couldn't get through and then cut it more, I was like, you could have fit through that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did think it was funny though, not funny, but like relatable when the husband is like blow drying the battery and he just stops and like eats some bread and I was like, yeah.
Oh, and he like has to tear it with like his one hand and he's like,
just
I was sitting there thinking, how are you thinking about food?
They didn't eat dinner.
His pathetic little bread tear off with the and then back to the hair dryer. He's like,
I feel like that's very realistic. That's
I bet I need bread. I need bread.
I did not think it was realistic because I when I'm going through something, my brain is like, because I'm on Lauren's side. I'm like, my adrenaline is pumping when stuff is happening.
You would be going a million miles an hour.
If I was just sitting there like in shock, like my child just died and I'm just sitting there like blow drying,
I kept
like
thinking,
I would look over and see bread and be like, I could use some of that right now.
I was thinking about how like
pass me some of that.
This is all happening while that kid's just like in the other room and I'm like, oh
yeah.
But then the dad gets up, like George gets up later and covers him up, and I was like, so you can walk.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden, now we can walk on the leg when nothing matters, when everyone's fucking gone.
When she's not here for you to inconvenience her by leaning all like.
He's like, oh, ow,
it hurts.
But he's like, push me over there so I don't have to walk.
I could have killed that. I would have left him.
I was really annoyed when he just had his full weight on her and she could like barely walk. I was like,
you had him on like a backpack.
I was like, you have one good leg.
Your whole other leg is fine.
Yeah.
It's a load-bearing leg.
Play hopscotch.
Yeah.
Literally play hopscotch.
Just hop over.
Literally, if you only have one good arm and one good leg, you can still crawl. Let's
Yeah,
go.
You can do it.
Let's go.
Like, I genuinely found it so distracting from what could have been like a really good movie for me, but it was just like so absurd that it just ruined it for me, which sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I love this movie.
I do too.
I didn't mind that much. It was just the like talking, the dialogue heavy scenes where I was like, I'm gonna cry, please do something.
I don't think I have anything else left in this.
Where did this part end? Her coming back in the house.
Her coming back in the house.
Yeah.
So we're at the last chapter. Are we ready?
Last chapter. I'm
ready. During another sadistic game, Anna grabs the shotgun and kills Peter. However, Paul finds and uses a remote control to rewind funny games itself, effectively reversing the events that just happened. Preventing Peter's death from happening, Paul then shoots George and both men take Anna out onto the family's boat early the next morning. Around 8 a.m., Paul nonchalantly pushes the bound Anna into the water to drown, thus winning their bet. The two men casually continue a conversation, started off screen, about a science fiction plot mainly known to Peter and seemingly relevant to both. The degree to which said plot is fictional to the two men, rather than a coincident with their level of reality, is left unexplained. They arrive at Gerda's house and knock on the door asking for some eggs for Anna. Paul turns around and throws a knowing glance towards the audience.
I know you hate the rewind, but I loved it so much because like this is the part where I was like, oh, they're fucking with us. Because like it's because like he's looking for a remote and I was like, why is he looking for a remote? And he picks it up and then like my TV like stops for a second and I'm like, did this just and then it starts rewinding and I'm like, am I sitting on my controller? And then I touch it and I'm like, no, this is happening. And then it starts again and that happens. And I was just like, I love this movie. It's like this movie's fucking with me.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, okay, I get this movie.
I thought it
I
was
think-
interesting, but it just didn't. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I didn't really love or hate it. I was just kind of like a little confused. I was like, right, okay, you're not gonna explain why you can do that. Okay, well,
they
just
haven't
watching the
explained
movie.
anything else about themselves. So
Well, I liked the breaking the fourth wall because it is like funny games. It felt like he knows an audience. He's like forcing the audience to watch them play these games, and he's
Yeah.
like, aren't you having fun? Like
You're
the
complicit.
rewind thing is like breaking reality, and I was just kind of like, okay, you're not gonna explain that, okay. So I didn't love it or hate it. I was just kind of like, what is happening? My last note for this section was just not the egg thing again.
Right? Being like, I'm gonna use the works every time.
good
Yeah,
old-
I was like,
Old-fashioned
y'all don't
egg
have
bit.
another bit. Like, come on. Think
Why-
of
But it's
something
not-
new.
He didn't get to do it he didn't get to do it with Anna, so he wants his turn to ask for the eggs.
I
I
guess.
figured he was gonna.
flip back and forth.
Yeah, I figured they were
Maybe
gonna
it's
do.
a comment on fertility. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I figured-
Honestly, I was surprised she let them in. If somebody came to if like a neighbor came to my house and asked for eggs, I'd be like, you can stay out there and I will bring them to you.
Well,
You
and
can't
he was
come in
like,
my
"Oh,
house.
I met you on the dock the other day. It's like, oh yeah, we're besties. Yeah, come on home. Like
Come on in.
I
the one
would
that
have.
Anna's acting really weird around. Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Come on in.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Nothing
What about
important.
Gerda?
I was trying to interject the whole time and I forgot.
I kind of want to see Gerda's story because she seems a little bit smarter and a little bit tougher than the other family.
If
Yeah.
it ends the same way with them winning their games, then I'm good.
Oh, that's
And
what I was
talking
gonna
a whole fucking lot about shit that didn't actually happen.
say. I remember what I was gonna say. So, because I thought something was gonna happen because like when they see them earlier, he's like, "Wait, you live where? Oh, over there, the brown house. Okay, cool." And
With the idea,
you're like,
Mhm.
Why are you
Suspiciously
here?"
asking where exactly I live.
Hmm.
but also kind of already knowing where I live. Hmm.
It's like he's just like hopping from neighbor to neighbor.
I think they're like literally taking down the neighborhood. I think
Yeah.
they're like actually just moving
They're
through.
just like hopping from neighbor to neighbor.
Which
All a
I
part
mean,
of their big funny game.
I will say I think this only works in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't
Mhm.
have this type of concept nowadays with people having like social media and tons of cell phones and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ring
wouldn't work.
doorbells. Yeah, it wouldn't
General
work.
unfriendliness to strangers on your
Oh yeah,
doorstep.
because now
Yeah.
it's like if you try to come around my house, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Especially-
At least in
yeah.
America, yeah, don't be going up to random people's houses. You might
And
get
it's-
shot, buddy.
And especially if you're going to a rich person's house, you know they got a Ring camera. You know they got
Mhm.
they've got security cameras around.
They've got a
They
butler
can afford a
answering the
boat.
door.
They can afford an
Yeah.
alarm system.
You
Like,
can't even walk up to a rich person's house. The gates are shut.
No,
You can't
Mm.
just
Yeah.
be waltzing up.
unless there's a hole in their fence by the water.
Yeah.
In which case, extra concerning that someone would just come through the hole in the fence.
In which case, their guard German Shepherd tears
Yeah.
you limb from limb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralphie was real useful.
Yeah, I was like, Ralphie, come on, buddy. You're a German Shepherd. You're literally like a police dog. Let's go. Tear him apart.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. This is like not important. I thought it was funny. Like Ralphie's barking and you see the dog barking and it sounds like a German Shepherd's bark. But there's
Mhm.
like one scene where Ralphie follows the kid into the bedroom and you hear a dog barking and it is not a German Shepherd. And it was just so funny to me.
They're
I was
like,
like,
play
why-
whatever dog sound we have.
Yeah, I was like, y'all
Dog
couldn't have
audio.
used like the German Shepherd barking noises from the other scene in this scene. Why'd you pick some other dog? It's obviously not a German Shepherd. Oh, I forgot though. The previous section when Anna is like leaving to go try to find help, the way she that like desperate messy like kiss that's like she's just like, I love you, and like sobbing, cry. It was just like, so, because normally I hate like a kiss in a horror movie. You're like, now's not the time to be like fucking making out. But
Yeah.
that one was like, you could tell that was her like, I've just lost my kid and my husband's the only thing I've left, and I'm so fucking scared right now. Like,
And they're also really married, so
This was
Yeah.
also a scene that pissed me off about him because she's like, I love you. And he was just like, yeah.
yeah, he
Like,
doesn't
It's
say
like,
I love you
thanks.
too.
That's awesome.
I'm like, this is not a Star Wars moment. Like this isn't I love you, I know. Like, tell her you love her back.
Maybe he does just fucking hate her in the movie. Maybe
Yeah,
that's his
like-
character. Is he hates his whole family and he doesn't give a fuck.
That was my
that they
final
die.
straw with him. I was like, you no redemption. You suck.
It's the worst.
I'm finished.
I'm dead.
How do they kill him? How does he die?
He just gets shot, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they play that game. With the
Oh,
prayer.
yeah.
She's like, I don't know any prayers. It's like relatable.
Oh, that's right.
But apparently that prayer scene, the director had her film it 28 times to get her so like broken down and into that like state. Which I feel like something to be explored with like the like cruelty of directors kind of in an extent. Like, can you push there's only a certain place you should be able to push people to.
Yeah, that's very much Stanley Kubrick in Shining. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole point is that they're actors and they can act out that emotion. You shouldn't actually get them to that emotion.
Yeah, like give them some pointers. Don't like don't like meta them into it. Like because you could tell she was broken at that scene. Like that, like her whole part right there was so good. Like the way she was, I was just like, oh my god. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah. I love this movie. I think it's great.
I did too.
I thought it was like a technically good movie. I feel the same way about this that I did with Sputnik, where I was like, yeah, everything was like done correctly. Like it's a well-made movie, but like my poor little squirrel brain was like, we are so bored.
Sure. But yeah, that was Funny Games.
Funny.
Was it funny?
Not funny, ha ha.
Not funny.
Funny, weird.
But like for real though, yeah.
But funny.
Did anybody's scores change?
No, it's still a 9 for me.
No? Okay. Just thought I'd check.
But I believe Pumpkin is up next.
Pumpkin is next.
And I wonder what they're gonna choose.
I have a
Wow.
feeling.
Whatever could I choose for foreign film, the category I've been wanting for forever.
Since we started the podcast.
Yeah, it's zero surprise because I think I've brought up this movie a bajillion times on this podcast because it is. I'm curious to see if I will be as scared on a second watch. But the first time I watched it, I literally could not fall asleep. I was so fucking terrified. I want to watch the Korean horror film Ganjiam Haunted Asylum.
I am so scared to watch this.
I'm really scared to rewatch it.
I'm just thinking of that part and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if my eyes can take seeing that again. It's so scary.
Letting you
nightmare
get
fuel.
for next week.
Just like
The thumbnails that's just like
Terrifying.
I'm so scared. I almost picked this for when we had the paranormal category, I think.
That would have been good for that too.
But I was like, no, we gotta wait till foreign film because it's just like I think. Is it my favorite? It's not my. Maybe it's no. Is it my favorite horror movie? It's my favorite. It's my favorite foreign horror film. It has overtaken Wreck.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if it's my favorite horror film though. We'll find out on a second watch.
Yeah, I'm a little scared to watch it again, but I'm excited to watch
too.
it again.
I'm scared, but I'm curious to see if there's any little like things I missed on the first watch that I'm gonna notice on a second. I have my eyes peeled the whole time.
Like now watching so much horror, not a lot of stuff gets me like watching
Same.
through my fingies.
Yeah.
But Ganjiam was watching through the slits in your finger.
I'm the same way. Like, there's barely anything that like gets me like that, and that those I was literally like,
Like, get me away
it was
from
on my
this
TV. I was like,
It's that one scene with the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one scene, I was watching it. It was only like 9 p.m. or something. So it was like barely dark outside. And there's this one scene. The moment you see him, I leaned over and slammed the pause button and got up and turned on the lights. I was like, no, I'm so scared. Shut the fuck up. I'm so scared right now.
I'm waiting for us, because I was talking about it, how scary it was for us. I'm waiting for someone to be our comments like, that wasn't that scary.
It wasn't even scary,
Yeah.
bro.
They're British.
Yeah. That wasn't that scary.
Is Harry
Was it
Styles
a British
toxic?
person?
Yeah. Harry Styles watches our podcast.
Oh, it's not even that scary.
By the way, listeners, we totally missed it, but we have passed our 1-year anniversary of doing the podcast.
We totally missed it, so we didn't post.
We didn't even think about it. We were like, we didn't do this until like September or October.
Yeah, literally, we were all
we had
texting.
started
We were
in August.
Yeah, like August, September, and then it was like, it's been a year. Like,
Honestly,
past a year.
I want to get a
June
little
17th was our first episode.
I want to get a little sappy about it, because me and Siberia were talking about doing this for like ever, like just us two. And then I think I had tweeted about it, and then Pumpkin had like responded to that tweet, and then like I think you said you talked to Lauren about it, and we were like, would you guys wanna?
Do you want to do a podcast?
Is this real? Can we do it?
We did it, bitch.
And I even remember, because we went to Katsu last year, and I remember it was like, kind of my first time really hanging out with all of you, and I remember like talking about horror movies and being like,
We were like,
Yeah.
okay.
You like horror movies? Are we doing a podcast?
look at us now, a year
Look
in.
at
That is
us.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I like most watched videos, Tucker and Dale.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube. That's our most
Yeah.
watched. I wonder
Yeah.
what our most listened to on Spotify is. That's crazy.
I will
Tucker
check
and
my-
Dale.
Yeah, Tucker and Dale's at like, last time I checked, it was like over 700 something views.
Oh,
Wow.
What?
do people like comment on it?
Yeah, that was one person that was like spoiling in the first
Oh.
2 seconds. And I was like,
Spoilers for Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh,
It's a comedy.
How will anyone ever recover?
it's got 751 views.
And guess what our most played, because our most played is the first episode, but what's our second most played, like the actual most played movie?
Whose movie is it?
Lauren's.
I would say probably.
I'm gonna say The Descent.
I would say The Descent too.
Is
It
it?
Descent.
Slay.
It's The Descent. Wow.
And then I think that's
The one I didn't really like.
followed by Terrifier, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, I feel like that makes sense because on Spotify, you usually just start at like the first episode.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
And work
people
your way
fell
from
off.
there.
They were like, this was the first movie?
Okay.
Next.
Our audio those first few episodes was pretty bad.
Pretty
So-
busted.
We were
Yeah.
like doing it on our phones and like with what was an app like
Oh
Yeah, and we
were
couldn't. We
sort of-
weren't doing it on here, so we couldn't see each other. So we were just like interrupting. We're like, oh,
Oh.
sorry. Yeah. Oh,
I
no, you go ahead.
remember-
No,
yeah, I remember editing, because I edited like the first few episodes like for Spotify. We had so many there were so many like dead spaces. There was so
Yeah. Well, we're
I still
professionals now,
have
it's
to
been a
edit
year.
those out. Okay.
I feel like we've gotten better about it. Like, it's
Yeah.
not
yeah.
bad.
Mhm. Well, and we sort of know our format a little bit more now, so we can like
Yeah.
we have a little bit more of a groove to
Yeah.
follow.
So, yeah, you've been with us a year. Stick around.
Yeah.
Take a while.
There's,
Well, we get
there's
them.
some fans out there that have been with us since the beginning, and
Hey.
I appreciate you.
You Lou Bops.
Look at you, Bobs. Rick Humphreys.
Speaking of sticking around, make sure you stick around for next week's episode. And before you give it a listen, make sure to watch Ganjiam Haunted Asylum and let us know what you think of it, because I'm really curious to know.
Where? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Fucking no.
You
Last
can watch
time,
it.
Is it on
You can watch
Shudder?
it on Shutter. It's on Shutter
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay,
let
cool.
me, okay, for the people who don't have it, let me make sure.
Well, have Shudder.
Yeah, have Shudder.
Yeah. Just get Shutter. Hey,
Not
Shutter,
all
sponsor
of
us.
us can afford it. It's on YouTube, Tubi, Peacock, Amazon, Apple TV. It doesn't even say Shutter on here unless it's just under Amazon.
It's on Shutter because I have Shutter and it kept popping up and I was like, God
I
damn.
remember, I think I watched it on YouTube when I watched it. Anyway,
Yeah.
make
Do you
sure
ever
you
put
watch
the-
it.
Yeah, because it was free on YouTube when we watched it, right? I
It
think,
still
yeah.
says it's free on YouTube.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
ever put like the title on the screen? Because this one might be kind of hard for people to find if they don't know how to spell it or something.
It's usually the poster, isn't it?
Put it right here.
I haven't been doing it the last few episodes because I don't want to edit, but I will do it for this one.
Right here. It's
Not
going
right
where-
there. That's not where it goes.
It goes right
Okay.
here.
What if we all put a hand in
No,
the corner?
you are all okay. Siberia is more correct right now. Okay, that's
Am
fine.
I here?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Is it right?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna make that the thumbnail. Us just like pointing. Okay,
Anyways.
enough shenanigans. We will
Yeah.
see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.